And welcome to Marcus and Mike Show, guys. I am Mike. My man over here to the right is Marcus. Marcus, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. What's going on, Michael?
We're just out here prepping for our high school playoff game.
Oh, wow.
So get in the afternoon. So it's exciting stuff. So
Yeah.
give me bear with the echo that's happening in the empty locker room here.
Yeah.
So Marcus, you are a huge Astros fan, and I kind of chalked them up to being dead after starting the World Series off 2-0, losing
Oh,
two games at home, and then they
yeah.
go to Washington, win three straight with it Game 6 tomorrow. Do the Houston Astros close it out tomorrow?
They probably will. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if it went 7, but let me recap here. When they were down 0-2, I wasn't pushing the panic button at all. They faced Strasburg and they faced Scherzer. I knew in the next two games they were going to face the worst bullpen in the major leagues, and they
Okay.
weren't facing starting pitchers named Strasburg and Scherzer. I mean, Anibal Sanchez is pretty good. With the other guy, Corbin, is okay. I knew that I would have been shocked if Houston bats didn't wake up, but they did. They woke up. They did exactly what I thought they would do. And now we're looking at Verlander against Strasburg. This is going to be one for the ages right here. Wouldn't shock me if Washington won, but that's what happens when you lose your first two. It's probably was going to. I probably was going to go 7 after losing your first two, but I think the Astros close it out tomorrow. To answer your question, I think it's going to be a nice pitching duel, and I think the bats have woken up. And if they can get to Strasburg and get them out of there by maybe the 7th inning, then they can feast on that worst bullpen in the Major League Baseball in the Washington Nationals, and I think the Houston Nationals will take it.
Yeah, they might have the worst bullpen in the Major League Baseball, but they have one of the best pitchers on the mound tomorrow night in Strasburg. And
Yeah,
Verlander is not no slouch himself. Don't get it twisted
yeah,
whatsoever. But Verlander's Achilles heel has always been his first inning. So if he can do well in the first inning and get out of that first inning with minimal
right,
damage, keep the pitch count around, under
right,
22, 25
right.
pitch count there, I think he will do fine. But I think the Nationals they are kind of have their backs up against the wall and they're going to throw everything at you. So Houston kind of has that luxury of they only have to win one, but the Nationals have to win two. So you will see the Nationals throwing everything at you, including the kitchen sink. And as a Houston Astros fan, I would kind of be scared of that. So Game 6, I'm going to go toward the Nationals simply because of the pitcher that they have on the mound, and they're going to throw everything at you. And the Houston Astros, they can kind of like take this one like on the chin and be like, you know what, you guys gave it all. What else do you have? What else do you have left?
Well, that's nice and all fine and stuff, but the problem is the Astros are almost flawless. Listen. I mean, they've got home run hitting. They can bat for average. They've got a good bullpen and they've got great starting pitching. I'll tell you right now, the Astros are. I mean, this roster, if the Nationals win, this would be one of the greatest upsets in Major League Baseball history. The Astros could be a team for the ages here. I heard Tim Kirchner on ESPN talking about that. I mean, they really have no weakness, and I think you'll find that out tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I do have to agree with you on that weakness spot there, but like I just had that feeling that the Nationals are going to pull or are just going to pull one out and basically make it a 7-game series, like a lot of people have been saying from the start. But when the baseball playoffs started, what, month and a half ago, you said Astros in 6, and true to your word, I think it's going to happen. So
Yeah.
Astros in 6. So speaking of games, yesterday was the sports equinox that I think is going to happen like the 15th time ever, where you had a hockey game, an NBA game, an NFL game, and a basketball game all on the same day. It was very, very exciting sports day. But like you, Marcus, I was pretty much glued to the TV watching NFL. And
Yeah.
it is Monday, so we're going to go ahead and break down the scores here.
Okay.
So the first game that happened, we haven't done a show in a while. The Thursday night game, you had the Redskins take on the Vikings. The Redskins beat the Vikings beat the Redskins 19-9, catapulting them into 6-2 on the
Yeah.
season. What did your takeaway from that game?
Man, it was just a methodical beatdown. I watched that game, I watched one more minute than a dead man. I didn't watch that game at all. It's kind of like whatever. Final score was 19-9.
Yep.
Man, I mean, listen, the Redskins hung in because they have a decent defense. Other than that, that game was absolutely horrible. Minnesota's the better team. Minnesota will probably be pushing for a wild card, if not the division title. Probably a wild card if I had to take a guess right now. Though Minnesota's going to be battling the Cowboys and the Eagles for that 6th seed.
Right.
When it all comes down to it. And this was a big win for Minnesota. They had to have this one. You can't lose to Washington. Washington's battling for the top 5 pick. So yeah, it was just a kind of a boring game. I think I was watching baseball that night, but yeah, it was just a boring game. To be honest, just a methodical kind of beat down.
Yeah, I mean, it is. First of all, the Thursday night games aren't really fun to watch, anyways, because 9 times out of 10 the home team wins, and it's this boring 10-7, 7-3 type of score. The only bright spot for me was Stephon Diggs. He went for 7 receptions, 443 yards, catapulting my fantasy team into a 6-1 season so far this year.
That's good. That's good. You got to give Kirk Cousins credit, man. Ever since it was like a mutiny and people went out of there because he was sucking, he's been great. So I give Kirk some credit.
Yeah, ever since you put Kirk Cousins on the bench, he's been doing well. Like, imagine that. Moving on to Sunday's games here. We had the 6-2 Seattle Seahawks defeating the now 1-7 Atlanta Falcons 27-20. What are your thoughts on the Falcons now?
They're a dumpster fire. I mean, and it's amazing because they have a really good defensive line and they have good linebackers.
Right.
They just picked one of their linebackers, Deion Jones, who's one of the best in the NFL. I mean, Grady Jarrett, they just paid him a whole bunch of money for the defense. I mean, man, Brady Quinn, not Brady Quinn. What's his name? Dan Quinn. Brady Quinn's a former Notre Dame quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Quinn, the former defensive coordinator for Seattle, he's done as the Atlanta Falcons coach. Arthur Blank doesn't like to fire people midseason, but that Black Monday, Dan Quinn's going to be right on it. He's done. There's too much talent there. That game was over in a hurry. It was 17-0, I think. And then it's funny is Matt Schaub threw for 460 yards, but I think he fumbled and he threw an interception, and they fumbled again. And next thing it's 17-0, and Matt Schaub got all his yards after it was 17-0.
Yeah, it was 24-0 at like halftime, so it was pretty much just like a snooze fest right off the bat. The good thing for Atlanta Falcons here is that Julio Jones did have a good game. He had 10 receptions for 150-something yards, I believe it was. So if you are looking to make a move, Julio Jones could be that reset button that the Atlanta Falcons need, because Julio Jones is 32, 33 years old. I mean, he's not getting any younger, and the Falcons just need to totally reset 100%.
Go ahead. I mean, I don't think Julio Jones would be on the market. I think Arthur Blank would want to keep him as like one of those Atlanta Falcons for life type deals, and you get Matt Ryan at quarterback. I don't think they're going to reset. I think they're going to suck this year. They're going to end up drafting Chase Young at Ohio State or Grant Delpit out of LSU, and they're going to run it back again next year.
Okay, well, moving on here, you had the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Buffalo Bills. Eagles win 31-13, putting them 4-4 on the season, just a half game behind the Dallas Cowboys. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, the Buffalo Bills could have ended the Philadelphia Eagles season. They did not. They gave Philadelphia life. Man, I was frustrated with this game. It's the Josh Allen turnovers is what happened.
Right.
It kind of demoralized the team. This man's hot and cold. The Buffalo Bills quarterback, Josh Allen, he can be great and he can be terrible. And so far he's been pretty good, but his turnovers got to his team the other day, and that's what you saw, a methodical beat down two of the Eagles beating Buffalo. Buffalo had a couple of chances to get back in it, but those turnovers just really killed the Buffalo Bills. But the score. I mean, Buffalo's still a pretty good team. This isn't like their season's done or whatever.
Yeah, they're still 5-2 on the season.
And the Eagles just basically came back to life. They were treading water, and now they can breathe. They can see it a little bit, and they might catch Dallas. And that's why Dallas and Philly, whoever doesn't win that division, better win as many games as you can, because they're going to be right around that 9-7, 10-6, and be battling for that 6th seed. with the Chicago Bears and whoever I just mentioned, Minnesota Vikings. Those are all people battling for the 5th and 6th seeds.
Yeah, it is tough seeing the Eagles win like this, just because Carson Wentz only threw for 150 yards. Like I think he had like 25 pass attempts. Like it was just foolishly like seeing this $100 million man just throw 24 times down the field, and I think he only completed like 15 or 16 of those passes, and anyways. So it is really tough to see the Eagles succeed, just because I dislike them so much. Speaking of seceded, the Chicago Bears lose a heartbreaker, 17-16 to the LA Chargers by quite frankly horrible play calling and another missed field goal. What are your thoughts of like that game?
Yeah, I mean, Nagy, the coach there at Chicago, poor management, poor decision making. He doesn't trust Trubisky or Montgomery, his rookie running back from Iowa State. He could have got closer to get closer in field goal range, and he didn't put it on his quarterback in his quarterback hands. He didn't give it to Montgomery either. He was a rookie. He didn't trust him either. He didn't trust him before the end of the half too. He didn't trust Trubisky at the end of the half. They ran Montgomery, and then they had to hurry up and clock it, so they can at least get a field goal in.
Horrible play clock man there.
It's just absolutely terrible. And then Pinheiro missed 2 field goals. I mean, really, the Bears, San Diego just escaped this one because the Bears weren't worthy enough to beat them. I mean, just with the poor timing and poor everything. Man, and let me tell you something. Bosa is a beast, man.
Yes, he is.
Both Bosas. I mean, we're talking about the older one now. Joey, he's like 25 years old. That dude's a beast, man. Like he was disrupting the game for San Diego. That dude's a maniac. But yeah, Nagy, the coach at Chicago, he ruined the game, man. He mucked the game up. To be honest, he doesn't trust his players, and that right there is a big sign. They're not going to win that division. They better start winning some games to battle for that 6th seed.
Yeah, I was the biggest Chicago Bear fan yesterday because they were playing a division foe in the Kansas City Chiefs, and with the Chiefs being down, possibly 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how smart the Kansas City Chiefs front office is of keeping Patrick Mahomes out. Which hopefully, I hope they're smart about this, because they're still leading that division and still, I think, in the 3rd seed or something to that effect. But seeing the Chicago Bears whittle that game away, like it is almost as if they were trying to lose that game. Like it was poor play calling. The offensive line is just horrible for the Chicago Bears, and I would hate to be a Chicago Bears fan right now, because this is how your season ended last year, and this loss may have ended your season just like as well. So hopefully they can turn around a little bit, but it's tough being a Bears fan. I would hate to be it. Sticking in the black and blue division there, the Detroit Lions defeated the New York Giants 31-26, moving them to 3-1 on the season, dropping the Giants to 2-6 on the season. Matthew Stafford goes for 25 for 32 for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. What are your thoughts on this game?
Man, Daniel Jones has been horrific. The Giants quarterback, he's been just like Eli Manning. He's been terrible. But I give him credit. He had a poor turnover. Opening drive, he just threw it behind somebody, and it ended up being a fumble or something ridiculous. The Detroit Lions picked it up and walked it in for a touchdown, 7-0. But after that, Daniel Jones kind of settled down, and he was pretty good. Threw for a bunch of yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. But Detroit was just a better team right now. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Detroit kind of survived the game a little bit because Giants started playing pretty well. And so, yeah, that's kind of one to easy predict. Detroit's a better team. They won. Give Daniel Jones some credit. And give the Giants credit. They just pulled off a trade getting Leonard Williams from the Jets. I don't know what the Jets are doing. I find that reprehensible, because you have a young quarterback in Darnold. You signed Le'Veon Bell. Now you gave away your J.J. Watt, which is Leonard Williams. He is their J.J. Watt. And you gave him to the Giants for a 3rd-round pick. I don't understand that. If I'm Le'Veon Bell, I want to be traded, because you're trying for like a mutiny type thing. I mean, you're trying to get us all riled up and not want us to play. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. I mean, that's just stupid. But now the Giants have Leonard Williams, so It's really weird to me for the Jets to give up Leonard Williams like that.
Yeah, that does make you scratch your head a little bit here, but let me focus this game on the Detroit Lions. Earlier in the season, when we made our preseason picks, I had them only winning 3 games of the whole season. Like I thought they were going to be a dumpster fire. I thought they were going to be complete trash. But moving forward, like I'm kind of buying into the Detroit Lion hype a little bit. They looking at their schedule moving forward here, they could easily sneak into that wild card spot. Yes, they are last place in their division right now, but the Bears are kind of hit or miss, and I think they're going to be more miss than hit moving forward. The Vikings, they will continue to do their thing. I think they're 5-2 on the season. So if the Detroit Lions just stay face here and finish the season 8-7-1, they can sneak into that 6th seed, and
good.
Like it would be quite the accomplishment for that head coach. Like I think,
right? No, they can't sneak in. I mean, Matthew Stafford's good enough. He's got the arm talent. He's got Galladay and some receivers out there, and he's got that new tight end from Iowa. They just got to play well on defense. They traded away Quandre Diggs though, which is another weird one.
Right.
It's not as bad as Leonard Williams getting traded by the Jets, but man, the Detroit players were upset because that was. And then Darius Slay, their other Pro Bowl defensive back, is on the trade block. So I don't know what the hell Detroit Lions are doing. I mean, they have a decent team. I just wouldn't trade anybody. The Detroit Lion players were pissed. I mean, they were upset that they were in it right now. They could make a wild card, just like you said, and now they're trading away defensive players. So it's kind of weird.
Here's what I think they are doing, because if you revert to like this past year when they traded away Golden Tate and somebody else, it is players that are not buying into the team system or to the system. I think they are cutting them loose and say, get your butt out of here. If you don't want to be a part of this team and like do it my way, do this organizational way, see ya. So could those two guys be a part of that trimming of the fat? Who knows? Matt Patricia was a part of a great staff over there at New England. So we've heard of the Patriot way for so long. What if it now is it the Detroit way? So maybe, as the Philadelphia 76ers, they trust the process. So for like my dad's sake, hopefully they do something well. Speaking of dumpster fires, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drop another game to the Tennessee Titans, 27-29, putting them at 2-5 on the season, and Titans are 4-4 now on the season. Jameis Winston did throw for 21 of 43 for 301 yards for 2 touchdowns. Surprise? Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, and I think Bruce Arians came on ESPN earlier and was like, what Detroit? They were really blaming Jameis Winston, but he said you got to lay it on the receivers. As I watched that game, the receivers were dropping touchdowns. Right. It wasn't Mike Evans; it was some other receivers, and not Goddard. Some couple other receivers were dropping touchdowns. So listen, I haven't been a big believer in Jameis Winston, but I know Bruce Arians is a hell of a coach, and so if anybody could fix Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's on his last coach in order to start this league. If Bruce Arians can't fix Jameis Winston's going to be a career backup. So it's going to happen. But look, that was a good game. Those are 2 evenly matched teams, Tampa Bay and Tennessee. And Tampa Bay had plenty of opportunities to win that football game yesterday, and Tennessee took advantage of it. And it looks like Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starter. Marcus Mariota. Tannehill would have to really, really have a couple of bad games for Marcus Mariota to get his job back. I think they believe in Tannehill, and Tennessee's defense is pretty good. Is pretty good. That's why that Tampa Bay with they were able to move up, and they were able to move the ball up and down on them was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Speaking of the Marcus Mariota situation, I think he is done at Tennessee. He has taken his last snap as a Tennessee Titan. Whether that's moving him in the next 24 hours or in the off season, I don't know. But I think he is done at Tennessee, and they found their quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. Now, is he a franchise quarterback? No, I don't think so. Like if a quarterback falls in their lap in the draft, I think they will draft that guy, let him sit the bench for a year, and hopefully grow him into a franchise quarterback. But I think Marcus Mariota is done in Tennessee.
Probably, yeah.
So moving on, another great game. The Indianapolis Colts improved to 5-2 on the season, dropping the Denver Broncos to 2-6 on the season with the 15-13 win off of the game-winning field goal from Adam Vinatieri, the ageless wonder, as they like to call him up here in Indy. What are your thoughts on like that game?
Yeah, I mean, Adam Vinatieri missed the extra point. Otherwise, it would have been 13-13. So they had to get the ball back for him to save face and win that thing 15-13. Look, Vic Fangio had the ball right up near midfield on a 3rd and 5 with 1:50 left. All they have to do is get that first down, and they can kneel. The greatest play in football for your team that's winning.
Right, yes.
Formation, right? Victory formation, whatever you want to call it. He decided to run the ball right up the middle, got no yards. So basically, he just gave up. I mean, what are you doing? You're already 2-5. What are you going to be, 2-6? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, win the game. Try to win the football game. I mean, what are you doing? And I think Joe Flacco, as I like to call him, Joe Flacco, not Flacco, pointed it out during the press conference. He said, hey, man, we got to throw the football right there. And he's 100% correct. I mean, you got to give Joe Flacco a chance to get that first down by throwing it. And then basically, if you get that first down, game's over. They didn't get the first down. They punted. Then Von Miller, who's had an off season to say the least, had Jacoby Brissett in his grasp, about to bring him down. And Jacoby Brissett did his best Steve Air McNair impersonation and got slung out of there, and then threw a 40-yard rope to T.Y. Hilton, and that was your game. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Broncos, man, and the Colts. That they lived to fight another day. They barely won that one, and thanks to poor coaching decisions by Vic Fangio, and thank you to Von Miller, who couldn't sack Brissett.
Well, let me turn the tables here a little bit on you. You called Joe Flacco, for a reason, because he has basically fluked himself into this huge contract that he got with the Baltimore Ravens, fluked himself into a Super Bowl championship. But let's say they do throw that 5-yard out pass or a 10-yard slant in that opportunity there to, quote, ice the game. What happens if your Joe Flacco throws a pick six? Then you're hoping for him to have a last minute heroic drive there. Would you rather bank off of that, or would you rather bank it off of the Colts driving down the field the way they did and for a game-winning field goal? I believe it was like a 45-yard field goal too.
I'm 2-5. I'm gonna put the ball in Flacco's hands. I'm gonna, what are you gonna? I don't play scared in that situation because if I go ahead and punt it, I mean, all they need is a game-winning field goal, and Vinatieri can hit from 50 yards. I might lose the game.
But as your same argument there, he just missed a PAT earlier, like in the game. So is that in the back of his head still?
It probably is, but I'll trust Vinatieri. He's a Hall of Famer. You got to instill confidence in your guys. You got to go for the win. That's ridiculous. In today's NFL, you got to get in field goal range. I mean, you'd have to have a terrible quarterback that can't even get in a field goal range with 1:50 left. And Brissett easily got in field goal range. Easily. Right. Yeah. So, you got to go for the win there. You're 2-5. What's the worst case scenario? You're going to lose the game. You lost it anyway.
Right. Exactly. I definitely see your point there, but I was just trying to see the other side of the table there. So speaking of trying to get a win, the Cincinnati Bengals did not win again, losing in London to the LA Rams 24-10. Putting the Rams 5-3 on the season. Bengals 0-8. Jared Goff goes for 17 for 31, 372 yards with 2 touchdowns. But the biggest story, I think, is Cooper Kupp, seven receptions, 220 yards with a touchdown. What are your thoughts on that game?
It's funny. I mean, man, Wade Phillips' defense is not doing good. I mean, Cincinnati was going up and down the field on him, and it's a good thing for Cooper Kupp and Jared Goff and that Bengal defense, which is horrific. But I was thinking about this the other day. Hugh Jackson and Marvin Lewis, are they somewhere sipping martinis somewhere? They were told by the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Bengals they were the problem. And what are the Bengals in Cleveland doing right now? They're combined, 2-13? One's 0-7, one's 2-5. So Hugh Jackson and Marvin Lewis are like, we weren't the problems, baby. You know what I mean? So it's pretty funny. I took away that, man, the Rams, even though they won, they look like they're in a little bit of trouble there. I mean, they're going to be battling for that wild card. The NFC is a beast in terms of battling for this wild card coming up, and the Rams are going to be right there in that damn wild card too. There's going to be about 3 NFC teams, about 9-7, and the Rams could be one, the Bears could be one, the Eagles could be one, the Cowboys could be one, where everybody's like, damn, man, we were a game away from making the playoffs.
Right.
So the Rams are a little bit of trouble there. Like, I mean, they struggled with Cincinnati for a while there. But
Cincinnati's not a horrible team. They just don't have the offensive firepower that they once had. Now they got a defense that's somewhat okay. The offense is all injured, or they're just not playing good. But I want to look at the flip side of this coin. These games overseas, both teams have kind of come out flat, come out sluggish in type of way. Like I think it's time to not play over in London so much. I mean, like, I see it's a big money grab for the NFL. Yeah, yada. I get it, but you're taking a home game from the LA Rams. You're taking a home game from the Oakland. You know, I mean, like, if you're worried about making money, these guys are losing billions of dollars by playing overseas, by traveling over there, hotels, food, lodging, etc.
Next week, Jacksonville, they're taking a home game away from Jacksonville, and the Texans are playing Jacksonville in London. And my ass has to wake up at 8 a.m. to watch that game. That's
right. I mean,
they need to cancel it for that right there. And it's
I mean, like, as much as I like watching football from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, this Sunday morning game is almost as bad as that Thursday night game. Like, because there's what, a day of travel, there's a day of cooping. Like, oh, it's nighttime here, but it's daytime here. You know, that jet lag. So I mean, it is just as bad, or if not worse than the Thursday night games. Speaking of just as bad, Drew Brees come back and is not bad. He went 34 for 43, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, beating the Arizona Cardinals, improving the Saints to 7-1 on the season, 31-9. Cardinals dropped to 3-4-1 on the season. Did Drew Brees come back too early?
No, as long as he didn't get hurt, I wouldn't have played him. I would have waited till this week, and then Teddy Bridgewater. I believe in Teddy Bridgewater. He's a good player. And then I'd have waited. They had a bye week, and then I'd have waited till after that. But the NFL is, if the trainer and the doctors give you a clear to play, even if there's a bye week coming up, you are going to play.
Right.
There's only 16 of these games, so there is no, do you think the conventional wisdom? If it's a little sore, we'll just hold him. No. If the trainers say he's a go, and I'm talking about any position, he's a go. This isn't 82 games. This isn't,
right.
This is 16 games. And when these players if it's a go, it's a go. They're going to play, and that includes Drew Brees or whoever. So, yeah, Drew Brees just is a methodical beat down, another one of these, where it might be close at the beginning, and then, the better team. Look, the Saints are the real deal.
Yes, they
the
are.
Saints might be the best team in the NFC besides the 49ers. The 49ers and the Saints are the 2 best teams in the NFC. And so, yeah, that's it.
I agree with you of what you said there, but sometimes the upper management, the owners, the coaches have to step in and save a player from themselves, i.e. Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes had his way, he would have played last night on that dislocated kneecap. But I trust Drew Brees. He's a seasoned veteran. He's 41 years old. He knows his body better than anybody else out there. I know, if he was out there, he had to been 100% healthy, or at least pretty darn close. I mean, throwing for 3 touchdowns and damn near 400 yards. He is obviously pretty healthy. So, fantasy owners, I'm sorry, but Teddy Bridgewater's little 4-game, 5-game stretch that he had there, it is done. Drew Brees is back. And I think you're right, Marcus. I think the Saints, I think the Super Bowl is going to go through the Saints. I mean, they are the real deal right now.
Yeah, I think the Saints and the 49ers will have the 2 best records, and everybody else is clamoring for everybody else is going to play that opening weekend, wild card weekend. That includes the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're on the road or they win the division and they're at home.
So, speaking of winning on the road, the New York Jets did not win on the road, losing the Jacksonville Jaguars 29-15, putting the Jaguars 4-4 on the season. The Jets 1-6. Minshew goes for 22 for 34, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars a playoff team?
No, they played against a horrific team in the New York Jets, who just traded away their best defensive player. Yeah, I mean, they also Jacksonville lost Jalen Ramsey, and that's a huge blow to them.
Right.
They're going to pay for that next week when they play against DeAndre Hopkins. But no, Jacksonville's a good team. I mean, they can get after your ass, though. I mean, tell you something. They're one of those, like Iowa. They're like an Iowa of college football.
Just grungy.
Yeah, you don't. If you walk into Ames, Iowa, or no, what is not Ames? That's what I was saying. If you walk into Iowa, Kinnick Stadium, and just go, it's Iowa, we'll get it. You'll find yourself getting your butt kicked, or you'll find yourself tied up 17-all with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Well, that's what Jacksonville is too. Now, if you think it's just Jacksonville, you could get beat. And so they're good. That's a good football team, coached by Doug Marone's a good coach. But I don't think Jacksonville's a playoff team right now. No. They got a lot. They got a lot of stuff to work on, and they just traded away their best defensive player. So yeah, but no, they can still get after you, and they whooped the Jets' ass. I mean, I pretty much saw that one coming too.
So we see Minshew having a pretty good season in that backup role, now starting role, since Nick Foles has gotten hurt. And you just alluded to that the Jacksonville Jaguars did trade off their best defensive player on the team, and he might even be the top 5 defensive player in all of the NFL. Do the Jacksonville Jaguars trade this quarterback that they have, turning into a pretty darn good quarterback, maybe unexpected, I guess you say? Do they trade him in the offseason for a defensive player or a draft pick?
That's possible. I mean, they're going to have Nick Foles back. They paid Nick Foles a lot of money. Gardner Minshew is a starter in this league. At first, I wasn't totally with it, Minshew magic and all that. And in a couple of games, it came back down to earth. But I think Gardner Minshew is a starter in this league. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. They're going to have another decision to make. You're going to keep Nick Foles, or you can release Nick Foles and take a cap hit, but you will save money in the long run and go with Gardner Minshew. Or are you going to trade maybe Gardner Minshew for a first-round pick, or because somebody will want this kid, Gardner Minshew. So we'll see what happens there. Aqib Talib is also on the trading block.
He is.
So, man, that's something to think about.
What does Marcus the Sports Freak do in this situation? Do you trade Nick Foles, or do you trade Gardner Minshew?
I'm keeping Gardner Minshew. I'm seeing how the team responds to him. They're winning games with him. I think he's the real deal. So that's a tough one. You'd have to ask me that in the end of next year training camp. I'd have to see both players for a little while here.
Well, we talked about this in the offseason. Nick Foles does not perform outside of a Eagles uniform. So if we're going by that bet, you got to keep Gardner Minshew. Yeah. So moving forward here, the undefeated 49ers continue that streak to catapult into a 7-0 start, beating the Carolina Panthers 51-13. Carolina Panthers have another backup quarterback starting for them. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, look, they're the best team. They're the best defense in football right now, the 49ers. I don't even know where the rankings are. I just know what my eyes see. And my eyes see that they get after your ass, and they're relentless. And that Bosa kid, now this is Nick Bosa, the younger. He's like 22. This guy is pushing people back in the backfield. The thing about the Bosas is they're amazing, man. Like, they have swim moves, they have counter to your moves, and then both of them can just push the offensive tackle back into you and disrupt the play.
Right.
So not only a lot of pass rushers are the quick guys. Are you the strength guy? They're both simply amazing. The 49ers, the best defense in football, not just because of Nick Bosa, who's going to be easily defensive rookie of the year, looks like right now. But they're the real deal. I actually forgot who did they play?
Carolina Panthers. They
beat
them
Kyle Allen kind of came back down to earth there. But I wouldn't totally just put this game on. See, I told you Kyle Allen couldn't play. He went in. He went up against the best defense in football. Kyle Allen proved to me in those 5 games he's pretty good. But listen, they just outclassed the Carolina Panthers. Really did in all phases. And then Garoppolo, what's amazing is Garoppolo's a pretty good talent, but he hasn't had to, throw for 354 touchdowns. He's just calmly just not making the big mistakes and just throwing to the right guy that's open. He's being a really good game manager.
He has reminded me a lot of Alex Smith when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, when the Kansas City Chiefs really started catapulting to be the good team that they are, that we kind of know right now. So with all that being said, I am not buying into the San Francisco 49 hype yet. Yes, I said earlier this season I think they're going to go 8-8, 7-9. Clearly, I was wrong on that point. Unless they totally drop face these next nine games, which I don't see that happening whatsoever. But I see them losing in the first round of the playoffs because they haven't been there. They haven't done that yet. They don't know how to win the big games. So we'll see in the playoffs.
To go to your point there, I still think they're the real deal, but their combined record of 7-0 against the teams they played are the combined record of the teams they played are 16-35. That's not good.
Right. It's kind of like the Patriots. They really haven't played anybody to really prove themselves. Yeah. Although they did beat the Seattle Seahawks, and I do think the Seattle Seahawks are a pretty good team.
Right.
So moving forward here, speaking of pretty good teams, the Patriots, they beat the Browns. Imagine that, 27-13. You were pretty big on the Browns earlier in the preseason. Yeah. Are you jumping off that bandwagon?
Yeah, I'm off that bandwagon. I admit I made that mistake. I still think the Browns are going to go 8-8, by the way, because I think they have some winnable games coming up. But I think that's one game better than the 7-9. But I had them going 10-6. I'm going to be way wrong on that one. Freddie Kitchens looks overwhelmed. I mean, what are they doing yesterday? They had 3 possessions to start out the game. There was 3 turnovers, and they actually outplayed the Patriots like yards per play and all that stuff, and they look pretty good. But that thing's going south, and it went south in a hurry.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Odell Beckham, who'd have thought he's clamoring for Eli Manning? I mean, hey, what is he? You know what I mean? Like, damn, man, like he's averaging 60 yards a game, and with Eli, he was averaging at least 90 yards a game or something like that. So, man, it's just Freddie Kitchens looks overwhelmed, man. He's not making the right decisions. You talk about Nagy making wrong decisions. The Bears coach, Freddie Kitchens, is making major league bad coaching decisions there.
Well, in a year's time, he goes from a position coach to an offensive coordinator to like a head coach. So yeah, I would be overwhelmed as well. I mean, because like just think about the responsibility from a position coach just to an offensive coordinator. That alone is like 17 more hours of work a day, and then going that from a head coach. I mean, he is definitely overwhelmed. But that is why just the Cleveland Browns will never be any good, is because they don't go get the best candidate. They listen to their players. They listen to this. They listen to that. All these outside influence. Stick with your gut and go get your guy. But looking at the Browns' schedule moving forward, like you said, they do have a lot of winnable games. They do play the Broncos next, and again, then they're at the Bills, and then they're at a trending up Pittsburgh Steelers team, but then Miami, Steelers again, Cincy, Arizona, Baltimore, and Cincy again. So they could easily go, probably six wins there pretty easily. So
I think they'll get to 8-8, but they won't get in the playoffs.
Yeah. So speaking of getting into the playoffs, your Houston Texans about lost a game last night, but they did outlast the Oakland Raiders 27-24, putting them to 5-3 on the season. Keeping pace with the Indianapolis Colts in the lead of that division. What are your thoughts on this game?
The Houston Texans have Deshaun Watson and the Oakland Raiders have Carr. Right. But that being said, Carr's a good quarterback. It's just that Deshaun Watson's in that top 3. I mean, if you were to reverse quarterbacks and put Carr on the Texans and Deshaun on Oakland Raiders would have won and Houston won yesterday. Right. Deshaun Watson is simply amazing. He
got kicked in the face and completed a touchdown.
Dabo Swinney said he's Michael Jordan with the football, and he might be pretty close to that, man. That guy's the real deal. Without Deshaun Watson, there is no hope in Houston. I'm not wearing this hat probably today. Well, I might be, but we'd probably be 2-5 or something. But no, Deshaun Watson's the real deal. That was a guts and guile win yesterday for the Houston Texans, man. Their secondary is worse than the Longhorns. The Longhorns secondary is pathetic, and the Houston Texans secondary. Yeah, the Houston Texans secondary is pretty bad. It's a mash unit. They got guys starting they just traded for in the week. Got guys off of practice squad that are playing. I mean, it is, and that's part of the reason why the Raiders had some success. But yeah, it was a great win by Deshaun Watson, man. That guy is unbelievable, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm at a loss for words when I talk about this guy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not get that game on the TV. I had to watch this darn Cleveland Browns this past night. But we spoke earlier in the preseason, and like we said, the AFC South is going to be the toughest division in football. And then Andrew Luck decides to retire, and then we kind of took a stance back on that, like a tad bit. But looking at the standings now, you have the Indianapolis 5-2, Houston 4-3, and Jacksonville and Tennessee both 4-4. Is the AFC South still the best division in football from our preseason thoughts?
It's pretty good. Houston's 5-3, Indy's 5-2. Yeah, and they're 4-4. No, it's a bunch of teams. If you don't come to play against the AFC South and think, oh, it's just the AFC South, you're going to get your heads handed to you. That's pretty good. I don't know if it's the best. Maybe that NFC does the NFC West have everybody above 500 or something? Yeah, but AFC South isn't bad. It's right there.
Are you referring to the NFC West, like with the Seattle Seahawks and 49ers? And
yeah. I mean that division right there. I think everybody's above 500.
Well, I think the Arizona Cardinals are 2-4, aren't they? Or 2-3-1 or something.
Which division is it? Is it where Lions are in last place? That division, or no? The Bears are in last place.
Yeah. The Lions are in last place with the 3-3. Bears are 4-3, and the Vikings are 5-2, and the Packers I think are 5-1 or 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, so those divisions are probably a little better in the AFC South, but AFC South's right there, man. It's a pretty good division.
So, we have one more game to recap. The night game last night, a really exciting game actually. The Packers, they improved to 7-1 on the season. Aaron Rodgers goes for 23 for 33 for 305 yards with an amazing touchdown to defeat the Chiefs at Arrowhead, 31-24. Kansas City Chiefs are on a 3-game home losing streak. What are your takeaways from this game?
That pass that he threw, he threw it in the air, and I thought he was just throwing it away, and I kind of clicked back to the World Series, and I thought, wait a minute, was there a Packer there? Let me just click it over. And then I thought, as a running back, he's not going to catch that. And so I clicked back over, and they said they were like touchdown. It's now 24. I'm like, what? And so yeah, I mean, they're just amazing, and listen, Aaron Rodgers is a beast, man. That's probably why the Kansas City Chiefs lost yesterday, and
that's the only reason why we lost. Our defense our defense has played 2 good games back to back.
If Mahomes was playing, I think it'd be, Matt Moore's a good quarterback, but if Mahomes was playing, I think it might have gone in overtime, been like a shootout, a regular shootout. So, yeah, it's a little dangerous time for Kansas City because they're dropping games like to the Colts and the Packers and the Texans all at home. And, man, let's see if Mahomes gets back next week. I don't know who they play next week, but let's see if he gets back next week.
Yeah, we do play the Minnesota Vikings. I believe it's at home again. So the Kansas City Chiefs have dropped 3 games, but they've lost to 3 really good teams. The Indianapolis Colts, 5-1. The Houston Texans, 5-2. The Packers now 6-1 or 7-1. So, I mean, all really, really good teams. I'm not panicking as a Chiefs fan yet. I want Patrick Mahomes to sit the next 2 games. I want him to come back after the bye week. I don't want to rush this guy back whatsoever because it's a knee. It's a dislocated kneecap. I don't know how you pop that kneecap in to make it work, but I'm sure it doesn't feel good. Yeah. So take your time, Patrick Mahomes. The defense is starting to come around. Like I said, once you get everybody back healthy, like we got Hitchens in the middle. You got Chris Jones healthy. They're starting to get healthy. They're starting to play good, and we're starting to blitz. So look out for Kansas City Chiefs, guys. They're still a Super Bowl favorite. So
I would be a little concerned a little bit because you need Mahomes. Minnesota's coming in, and Mahomes didn't have any ligament damage, so I think that's good news. So he's kind of on a week-to-week thing. Wouldn't shock me at all if he plays against Minnesota this week.
Yeah,
You can't afford to go down 5-4. Now you're the 5-3 now?
Yeah, we're 5-3, but we can't afford to do that because look who else is in our division. You have a 2-5 Denver Broncos team, a 3-4 Oakland team, and a San Diego Chargers team that dropped, or like I guess they did win this yesterday afternoon. But I think they're still 3-5 or 3-4 on this season. So we still have some room to
Okay.
wiggle a little
I
bit.
hate that, man. You don't want to be looking at 5-4, and then now you're looking at playing wild card weekend, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely like to get into that second seed, but
Yeah.
looking how the AFC is going right now, I don't see that happening because you got the Patriots and the Packers both on 15-1 and 14-2 type of pace here. So we would have to win out here. So there is one more game to round out the week 8. You have the great game of the Miami Dolphins take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do you got winning tonight?
Man, I don't know if I'll tune into this one. I think Pittsburgh will win this game. Man, how about 37-3? I mean, yeah, why can't we need to flex this Monday night stuff, man?
Right.
We really do. I mean, they got to do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, like even when you're making this schedule beginning of the year, like who in their right mind thought Miami and Pittsburgh would be a good primetime game?
Yeah.
I mean, like, let's be serious. At what point would this ever be a good game? I mean,
yeah.
What like you'd have like I think for this to be a good game, Miami would have to somehow acquire Antonio Brown on the team in the next 6 hours, and then Antonio Brown and who's their quarterback right now? Kyle Rudolph getting some type of Twitter beef or that's the only way this will be an exciting game. But Steelers they're not going to lose at Heinz Field to the winless Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins just traded off their only offensive weapon that they had left, Kenyon Drake, to the Arizona Cardinals for like a 3rd or 4th round pick. So they are in 100% tank mode. It's going to be ugly, but it's still going to be like a 28-7 type of score.
And ever since the Steelers traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins, they've gotten better in the secondary.
Yeah,
that trade's been well for them. They've simplified things, and Minka's all over the place. So they got a good player. Steelers are going to come back now. Steelers will win tonight. Then I think they're going to beat the Colts next week, and Steelers will be back in business.
Yeah, but looking at their schedule moving forward, they do have a pretty tough schedule. These next 3 games, they do play the Colts, the Rams, and the Browns. But after that, it's pretty smooth sailing. They got the Bengals, they got the Browns again, they got the Cardinals and the Jets. So 4 or 5 easy wins there. They could easily still win this division at a 2-4 record right now.
We'll take Kansas State in there with Coach Kleinman in there with that last 3 you mentioned.
Hey, you wouldn't want to do that because my boys are going to go in there and upset them.
Yeah, no, I know it. That schedule.
So speaking of which, I'm glad you brought up that K-State game because if you guys missed ABC college football game, I believe it's like a noon kickoff here on the East Coast at like 11 back home. K-State did upset Oklahoma. So Marcus, does that loss from Oklahoma officially kick all Big 12 teams out of the playoff competition?
How many times do you want me to say yes? Yes, it does. It's done. Oklahoma's done. It'll be a nice Big 12 championship. Thanks for participating in the college football season, but you are done. Thank you, Manhattan, Kansas. Thank you, Bill Snyder Stadium. Thank you. Thank you to all the people involved with the Kansas State Wildcats program, from the cheerleaders. You did us a favor. Listen, I don't care. It's not my money. I mean, there's a lot of Big 12 people that are like, oh, man, we just got to have one representative in there. I hate Oklahoma. So if they lost every game, I you know what I mean? So Kansas State did me a favor, but they didn't do their conference a favor, which I don't care about. I'm so happy they won. And that I saw Lincoln Riley going, it's not right, with the call at the end. The ball hit the Oklahoma player. That's why it darted another 15 yards straight the other way.
Right.
It was on its way to going to the sidelines. So just by rule of law, it hit the player, and it hit him right at 9.5 yards. It had to go 10. The ball had to travel 10. It hit him right at 9.5 yards. And so it was an illegal touching. This right here, illegal touching. Kansas State ball.
Yeah, so just to add to your point there, I don't get to watch my Kansas State Wildcats very much on TV because we simply just don't get the games here in our Indiana network area. So when just like when I got the opportunity to watch the game, you damn bet your ass I was watching the game minute to minute, and we were up 25 points with about 4.5 minutes left, and the next thing I know, they score.
Yeah.
We throw like an interception or no, it's a three plays and out. They score again. Onside kick. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like my heart sunk when I saw them recover that onside kick. And I was hoping I was like, honey, please let there be a flag, something, because I know we're not going to stop them if they get this onside kick. Jalen Hurts is the real deal.
At that point, I wondered if they were going to make it 48 all. I mean, I don't know. Would they have gone for 2 and just ended Kansas State, or would they have put the game in overtime?
As a smart coach, you have to go for the tie on the road. If you are a home, you go for the win, I think.
Right.
But
hey, give Kansas State credit. I mean, I know they tried to give it away at the end, but they got
3
after
times.
them pretty good, man. Yeah, they got after them. They give them credit, man. They came to play. They weren't going to lay down.
Yeah.
I was very happy at that point. Very happy.
Look out for my Kansas State Wildcats, not next year, but the year after that when Coach Kleiman gets his boys in there, gets the system in place that he wants, that he had up at North Dakota State. They're going to be good, man. Manhattan, Kansas is going to be back on the map again here. So, Marcus, that's going to be it for today's show. What's the last word?
Man, there's really no sports tonight. I'll be out at Julian's Pizza doing a remote for ESPN Radio. I'll be on the radio from 4 to 7 p.m. But, man, there's really – I mean, the Monday night game, I guess I'll have to watch it because there's no baseball. I'll have to look at it a little bit. That's painful.
We have Monday Night Raw on USA. You can watch some wrestling.
I used to watch wrestling when I was a little kid, and then I loved it. I was a teenager, and I thought it was real. I thought they really hated each other. And then all of a sudden there was one – I was probably like 17 years old. I was still liking it. And then I saw it behind the curtain, and they were like, this is how I'm going to hit you. Hey, man, we're going to go for a drink. They liked each other, and that ruined it for me. I said, well, it's not competitive any. Like, if you like each other and it's scripted, I can't watch anymore. So I haven't watched wrestling since what's that, Royal Rumble? No, what is it called? The WWF. It's like the whatever it is. I watched WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
I think the last one I watched was WrestleMania 3 in the Pontiac Silverdome, and that was the last one I ever watched. What are they on now? They're probably on WrestleMania 40 or something. I mean, who knows what they're on.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really watched wrestling since I was a young kid, but it is what it is. But guys, that's going to be it for today's show. Join us tomorrow. Marcus, Houston Astros going for their second World Series in 3 years. Hopefully they end it next year, or sorry, tomorrow night. I should say. So guys, thanks for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow. Oh, wrong button.